Hello everyone. Well, we're here in Sharm el Sheikh in I think it's southern Egypt near the Red Sea. Well, that'll be part of the Red Sea behind me there. Beautiful part of the world. So yeah, here at the moment, just looking at places. We'll go up to another place about an hour's drive from here, either tomorrow or the next day. And just have a look at properties. And we've been to Spain, we've been to Portugal, and we've been back to Greece, and just looking at properties, looking at the visa situations in those countries, and just trying to find a place in the sun, so to speak. And I think what we'll do is we're going to move back to Greece for now, particularly while we wait for things to improve, not only geopolitically but economically, financially. So we will be just looking for a place in the next little while, because we've been in Thailand for the last, almost 12 months. And there's problems with visas over there, a lot of problems. Not only with visas, like we did get a 12-month visa with multi-entry, and then the Thai government decided that they were going to stop people from leaving and re-entering on that visa. So, it's a waste of money. It actually costs quite a bit of money. And other things that concern me, I think also geopolitically, that would be a major concern. Not only that region, but that country will be a bit of a concern in the future. Looking at alternatives, you sort of go, where on earth do you go? I'm not happy with South America, never have been. There's a lot of things that concern me with South America. One of the major things is the geopolitical situation there. There's always upheaval in the finance and economics, and the currency situation in Latin America. It's just replete with issues. And I know people, they talk it up and they think, Chile and Argentina and Brazil and all these countries are fantastic. But I think it's a fool's errand. I think when things get really tight, you get real instability and conflict start to emerge geopolitically. I think you're going to see a lot of activity start to go down. So the name of the game is blending in. You don't really want to stand out. And I see that as a major problem for people in Southeast Asia. There's going to be big issues for them. Particularly as, you see the currency start to decline. They become debased. We're seeing that at the moment. A lot of currencies being debased, and it's going to cause a lot of problems as inflation and different things take hold. So big things starting to sort of take shape there. So where do you go? I certainly don't want to go to back to Australia. Never want to go back there. North America is out for me. I'm not interested. So it leaves Europe. So we went back to Greece, met up with the attorneys, and had a chat, and just looking at visas for people and that sort of thing. And there's possibilities there, particularly for digital nomads. They've got the new digital nomad visa in Greece. So then we went to Portugal. We went to Lisbon, and look, really unimpressed by Portugal. I know a lot of people talk Portugal up. I was really not impressed. We stayed there for a day and just said, no, don't waste our time. Let's leave. And so we left the following day. Lisbon was a real let down. I know people talk up Lisbon, and some people say, oh, it's full of drug dealers and all that sort of thing, and it's true, it's full of them. And tried to find Portuguese chicken. No Nando's, no peri peri chicken in Portugal. Very disappointing. So lots of seafood, which I can't eat, so I'm not interested. So then we went to Spain. We went to Madrid, and a lot of things just didn't really gel with us in Spain. Costs are actually quite high, and just found it very sort of abrupt. The culture is very sort of unfriendly, put it that way. And the costs, we spoke to a few people there, and they just said the inflation that's taken hold in the last little while has just been extraordinary. So we sort of, after a short period of time, I think it was after 2 days or 3 days, we just said, no, we're out. So Spain was out, finished, and we just decided that was not going to be something that we were interested in. We were going to go down to Valencia and possibly even work our way up to Barcelona, which I've been to before, but didn't really work out that way. I think we sort of chose or decided that that Spain really wasn't going to fit the bill. And in the backdrop of all this is your visas. So to sort of circle back on the discussion, you look at the Portuguese digital nomad visa, you've got to go there. There's two types of digital nomad visa. You've got the 12-month non-resident, and then you've got the 2-year resident visa, which basically require the same thing. I think you've got to have 3 months or maybe 6 months of banking proof of income, as well as a contract with a company that is registered outside of Portugal. Then you got to go and get a NIF number. Then after that, which is their like social security tax number, then after that you get a bank account set up. Then you need to get 2 passport photos taken. Then find yourself a property, and when you're happy with the property that you get, then you can basically rent a property for 12 months. Then this is the insane part. You got to go back to your home country and submit the application, and that can take up to 4 months. So it's just insanity. Who would be paying for a property that they're not going to live in for 4 months? That's just stupid. So that's, just the insanity of the whole situation in Portugal. It's just nutty stuff. And you don't want crazy in your life. You want crazy out of your life. So some of us work hard to get crazy out of our lives. So that's just the situation there. That's Portugal. So apart from it being just not a very pleasant place at all, and extremely cold, even in May. It's really surprising how cold and miserable it was. Deal with the crazy visa situation. Spain is very similar in its digital nomad visa with its requirements, though I don't think you have to rent a property and then leave the country for 4 months at least. But the next thing you have to do with digital nomad visa there, which is one we were looking at, certainly all the requirements with bank details and contracts, employment contracts and all that sort of stuff. or proof of ownership of a company. So yeah, look, there's another option there is called a non-lucrative visa, which was what we were also looking at, which requires 28,000 euros in the bank, 28,800 or something, and then another 20% for every dependent on top of that. So, you know, for my wife and I, we're looking at, say, 35,000 euros, which is roughly what we were sort of calculated. But we sort of got to Spain and just, you know, it just didn't gel. It's good to get to a place and just see if something's going to work out, something's going to gel with you, if it's going to fit. Lots of places, you know, you kind of get to and it's not very nice at all, you know. So yeah, that was the situation there, you know. So we just said no, that's out. I'm not going to do that. So we went. Actually, we left Madrid. We went down to Cairo. So my mate Nick wanted to have a look at the pyramids, so he went and looked at the pyramids, and yeah, very interesting. Stayed in Old Cairo, which is absolutely mayhem, just abject poverty, very sad. Yeah, wild stuff. The freeways there are crazy. Some of the most crazy things I've seen in my life. So yeah, so then we went down to New Cairo, which is very western, beautiful part of the world. It's developing. We saw a massive amount of unfinished, you know, just like the skeletal structures of dwellings, you know, massive apartment blocks and that sort of thing. So, so we saw that, and yeah, very nice. Could do it, I suppose. It just doesn't. It's just desert though. It just goes on, and there's no real, you know, like heart of the city type thing like you have in where I come from in Brisbane. You've got the Brisbane River. That's the heart of the city, and you can sort of trip down to the Gold Coast, and that's kind of it. You know, but then you sort of get into a situation where, okay, where do you go? What do you do? I have a friend of mine who has lived in Egypt for many years. He's back in Australia at the moment, but he has an online course, learning or speak Arabic, talk Arabic, something like that. And so anyway, he said, look, you want to go down to Sharm el-Sheikh, check it out. We stayed at a good hotel in Old Cairo. I think it's called the Pyramid Towers, which literally overlooks the pyramids and the Sphinx. And yeah, it's a little oasis in the middle of absolute chaos. And very, very nice owner, very, very nice staff. Thoroughly enjoyed it there. But so anyway, he also suggested go down to Sharm el-Sheikh, and so we did. And Sharm el-Sheikh is absolutely amazing. Beautiful, beautiful part of the world. Very, very nice, and you know, a bit more exclusive, but it's not super expensive, not as expensive as what you think. So we're looking at things at the moment, so possibly looking at getting a place somewhere in Greece, and then possibly getting a bit of a holiday visa, holiday villa here in Sharm el-Sheikh. And the other thing that I was going to say was Egypt's also released just a a 5-year tourist visa, which costs $700 US to apply for or to get, and that's it. You're off and running. So very, very good. Pleasant place, good weather, and the people in Egypt are extremely nice. They're not harsh. Like we've been through other parts of Europe, they can be quite harsh and abrupt. The Egyptian people are quite lovely, very sort of accommodating and very gentle, which, you know, you're told all these stories about crazy things going on, but I think the reality of the situation is very different. So, you know, just the situation that, you know, things are in. So, but yeah, very, very nice people. I can't speak highly enough of them, and very accommodating, as I said. A lot of them don't drink, but I don't drink that much either, so it doesn't worry me. But very conservative culture, very family orientated. That's great. I think that's good. So, as I said, you know, Sharm el-Sheikh is a little bit of an oasis, a little paradise in the Red Sea, just at the southern part of Egypt. It's absolutely stunning. It's just beautiful. Very good place to rest and just recoup and get refocused and re-energized again. So that's actually very, very good. Been good. So anyway, that's our plan, I think, at this point. We're looking at a little holiday villa to maybe come down here every month or so, and maybe for a couple of months during the winter in Europe, because I hate the cold weather. And, you know, the 5-year tourist visa here. And we already have the visa for Greece, so, you know, we're off and running. But yeah, very surprised by Egypt. Lovely place. Okay, so what's happening geopolitically? I think I should have done more videos, but we've been so sort of preoccupied working on other things that I haven't really done enough videos. But geopolitically, I think things are ramping up in Ukraine. Look, we'll know where things are going to go by July, August, September. I'm half expecting things to just phase out, fizzle out. I don't see Russia sort of giving up, and it just depends on if the US sort of ramps up and creates some sort of fiasco with some, you know, we talk false flag type stuff. You know, they've stuck these sensors, these nuclear sensors right through Ukraine at the moment. These nuclear sensors, whatever they are, and you know, you sort of sit there and think, why would you do that? Like, that's just, you're setting us up. So it just depends if the US sort of ramps things up with some crazy stuff. So I'm half expecting that to sort of die down. But the interesting thing is we're seeing things with Taiwan and China, the narrative around that sort of really pick up, which is interesting. And you know, I think that's the one to watch. I've been saying that for some time, but I really think that it is. And once that sort of erupts, it's either going to sort of be a slow burn and build up, or it's going to be fast and instantaneous. Either way, it's not going to be good, particularly if you're in the Asia Pacific. I think it's going to be a really difficult time, and it's one of the reasons why I really am happy I'm out of Australia, because Australia has a massive weakness in that it's dependent on those shipping lanes being open. And that's why Australia has supported every major conflict that the US has been involved in since World War II, is because the US has had the preeminent naval power in the world, and it has basically kept the shipping lanes open for Australia in exchange for us basically legitimizing, you know, what they do in regards to their conquest. So, you know, that seems to be the way that things is going to play out. And as I said, it's going to be a slow burn, or it's going to erupt. And I'm half expecting, you know, 50-50 each way. It's not going to be good either way, particularly for nations like Australia or Papua New Guinea or Vanuatu. They'll be caught up in this in a big way, and it's not going to be good. So, you know, that's where we are at the moment. It's getting a little bit hot here, but what time? So 9:05 in the morning, and I reckon it's probably about 22, 23 degrees, maybe a bit hotter. But so we're sort of we'll be here for another couple of days. We'll head off back to Athens, I think, with more meetings with lawyers and that sort of thing. I think I might be catching up with someone in June there sometime, if I'm around and it all lines up. But so it's going to be interesting times, really interesting times. But you know, I think, you know, the banking sector in the US, what we're seeing is this sort of decline of the US financial system, the US geopolitical clout, and really, you know, there's a vacuum emerging. And I think nowhere in the world has seen such an incredible disruption because of US power than in the Middle East. And I was saying to someone last week that it's interesting to note that, you know, and as we see the US sort of recede or decline in power at the moment, we're seeing diplomatic relations start to re-emerge in the Middle East. You know, you're talking about diplomatic relations with Saudi Arabia and Iran, and Syria and Iran, and you know, Iraq, and all different countries are starting to reinstitute or reconnect diplomatically in the region. And you're also starting to see different currencies start to emerge, like the BRICS. I mean, the BRICS has been around for a long while, but there's a lot of countries wanting to join the BRICS now. And the other thing that we're seeing at the moment is the emerging of CBDCs. I know the US and Australia and the UK and other countries are wanting to you know, release their CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies, along with you know, digital IDs and all those sorts of things. Look, we're looking at things declining in the West. It is really a declining power. You're going to see the financial system collapse in the West. A lot of the finances will leave the West and come to places like the East, like the Middle East, or you know, I still think that places like Southeast Asia will go ahead in a big way in the next, you know, 50 years, purely because that finance, that capital is leaving the West and it's going into other areas. You know, we have outsourced all of our manufacturing and our goods and services to the East for the last 30, 40 years. We have basically disenfranchised ourselves from the production and manufacturing of goods in particular, and even some commodities. So, it's only a natural thing that you've got to pay for those things. So that naturally that finance, that money sort of flows into those emerging economies, to the point now where they've probably got more money than what the West has. In finance and economics, they call Western economies rent-seeking. So they basically sell services like insurances and banking and loans and that sort of thing. So that's what you're basically seeing. It's just a natural transaction where you're having the finances from the West seeping in or flowing into the East, and of course the East is becoming very affluent. I mean, you look at Sharm el Sheikh; it's absolutely stunning, beautiful part of the world. That only happens when you have capital flight and you have people that are wanting to live a better life. I mean, I'm see the West at the moment doesn't resonate with me. Their value systems, what they do, nothing really resonates with me. It doesn't align with my values or my lifestyle. So I'm quite happy to leave there. So that's basically some of my thoughts on that. It's only going to gain momentum. If you're in a place like Australia or the US or the UK and you're thinking about leaving, I strongly suggest that you do it sooner rather than later, because the prices of assets are going to increase substantially over time as well. So the sooner you make the move, the better off you will be, because of that disparity of wealth at the moment. But we're getting to a point now where that shift is not going to stay at the same pace. It's going to increase pace. There we go. You see all these people going diving. This is one of the biggest, one of the best diving locations in the world, apparently. So a lot of luxury yachts and that sort of stuff sort of further up that way. Well, we've seen a few sort of go by. This place that we're at the moment, so we'll leave here tomorrow, it's called the Garden. The diving section is called the Garden Bay or something, because it's got a lot of coral. So I might go down there later on and have a bit of a swim. But so there's different dynamics starting to emerge in the world. It's very hard to keep track of everything, but there's a lot of just white noise, a lot of silly articles and that sort of thing as well. I was having a discussion over breakfast with a friend of mine, and he was saying, oh look, COP22 was here last year, maybe this place will decline. I mean, this place is just absolutely beautiful, but I tend to disagree. But and the reason why I disagree is because of, as I said, I think there's a lot of money leaving the West. It's coming to the East. Places like this are really going to emerge. So it's going to be a very interesting time. Everything's changing. Everything is fluid. So I know. When I went to Thailand, I was like, oh, thank goodness. But I was pretty pleased to leave there, to be honest. Greece is going to be another thing. Spending more time there again, but it'll be fine. I think what we'll be doing. People on their phones. I don't know why people have to talk like that. So we'll be going back there and basically looking for a place as a base. And we'll be trying to find a base here to set up as a bit of an escape route. Not a real escape route, but just something to get away from things in Athens and have a bit of a rest and recuperation and just relax. It's such a beautiful place here. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's where we're at. That's what our thinking is at the moment. There's so much that I could address, but it's really not worth the time. You know, the Biden administration, it's just so many things that I could talk about that, as I said, is just really not worth the time or the energy. It's not worth me talking about it. So, but yeah, watch this thing with Russia and Ukraine and NATO. I think the West is being exhausted at the moment. And I think the rhetoric, as I said, is starting to ramp up with Taiwan. And I think they really want to draw China into a conflict to soften it up and maybe break it up. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they try and break it up. As I said, we're just going to see things really start to gain momentum in regards to the movement of currencies around the world. The other thing is a lot of money flowing into cryptos. I see discussion on particularly the overseas exiles Telegram channel. People saying, "Oh, crypto's terrible," and there's a lot of private equity funds and investment funds with a lot of capital tied up in crypto. Crypto's not going anywhere. That's just silly talk. The other good thing I think to look at the moment is gold and silver. Been saying that for a very long time. So yeah, there's some of the things that you want to keep in mind. Here's one of the resorts. So absolutely beautiful. It's like a dream here. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to leave that there. I'll do some more videos. I'm not going to leave you high and dry. We are working on the overseas exiles social media thing, but we've got something else that we're about to launch, and it really has taken up all of our time. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Stay in touch, like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll chat with you soon.